Welcome back, fellow maidens. It is I, the Dark Fair Maiden, and today we are doing Lies of P area. So we're going to be ranking some of the locations from the game. So we are doing this in celebration of the release of the DLC coming out very soon. I believe it's coming out in 2025 at some point. So we're going to have a lot of big things coming this year. It's very exciting. Stick around, let's reminisce over some of those areas in the base game, and let's remember how awesome the game truly was, because it was stunning, amazing, a masterpiece. Starting off then, we have the Elson Boulevard. It's a very cool area for sure. This is the starting area in Lies of P. I mean, you've gotta love the starting area. It really gives you a feel for what the game was gonna be. You have those beautiful Italian style streets, very detailed. The cobbledy streets, the street lamps. You got a really cool introduction to what kind of enemies you're going to be seeing throughout this game, that they were like these tin puppets or robots or whatever. A lot of really cool platformings with buildings that you could go on the rooftops of. It just gives you a different perspective of the city, looking down on it and seeing the buildings from a higher up scale. It's very, very cool. So I love the first starting area. I think it's great. So I think they've done a fabulous job on the starting area. I think the Elson Boulevard is going to have to go. I think it maybe goes in the S tier, does it? I think it does, because you've got the detailed streets. You've got a lot going on in terms of platforming, and it's just a fantastic intro to what we are in store for, and it really gives you the feel and the vibe of what Lies of P is going to be about. So I think for sure Ellison Boulevard has to go in the S tier. Next up then, we have the Hotel Krat. This is a beautiful location. It gives us that kind of grandiose kind of vibe. Really shows us what era and what style Lies of P is going for. I think it's beautiful. I love how, you know, you get to unlock doors and stuff throughout the game. It takes you to new areas. I think it's fantastic. And not only that, but also throughout the game, it changes, it develops depending on what's happening around you. And I think it's a fantastic place to relocate to level up. I think it also has to go in the S tier, because we also have some really cool NPCs there. So S tier for sure. Next up then, we have the Malum District. Now, the Malum District. This place was okay. I like the Malum District. I like how it was such a different style from what we've seen previously in terms of the streets. This was kind of more on the outer skirts of the city that we were in, and it shows different enemies, different kind of landscape, a different kind of vibe for sure. Kind of, you know, scary, and you're getting more of the slums of the area, broken down towns and little villages, and it's a really cool vibe compared to the town, the city. So I think, yeah, it's a really cool area, cool location, and I love how different it is to the city and to Hotel Krat. The Malum District, I think it gets a B tier. Next up then, we have the Moonlit Town Path of Misery. I like this area. I like the tonal change compared to previous locations. I like the warm glow from the little lamps and the fires around you. It's got a cool different vibe. The only thing I don't like about this area is the enemies. But to me, it's not really the place I enjoy going back to, so therefore I think on the tier list, we have to go C. Next we have the Path of the Pilgrim, or the Path of the Pilgrim. Another area which I don't love, but I have to give some shout out to the style. I think the game designer's done a wonderful job in this area. We're just kind of seeing another side to the Lies of P universe. I think it's very cool. I do really like the names they went for these locations, like Path of the Pilgrim. Definitely kind of gives you a vibe for what you're in for. You're on a difficult path. There's lots of different enemies to fight here. But overall, I think I'm going to give that a C. Next up, we have Krat Central Station. This is definitely one of the cooler areas in the game, I think. Difficult enemies and bosses, yes. But I love the vibe we got going on here. I like the industrial kind of feeling we have from the station. It does definitely amp up in difficulty. Again, just such a different vibe from anything else we've seen in the game. So I love it. I think it's very cool. So therefore, on our tier list, I think this gets A. Yeah, A. It's a very cool location. The only thing I'm maybe putting it down into the A tier is just the enemies there, perhaps, and it's not the most enjoyable place, but it's still better than these districts. Next up we have St. Frangelico Cathedral. Definitely one of my favorite places in the game because it's a cathedral. I love cathedrals. I think they're very beautiful. I love the walk up to this cathedral. It's very grand, and I like how all the enemies are either side of the bridge waiting for you just to take you out. It does give me definitely the feel of Dark Souls kind of vibe. I love it. I think they've done a fantastic job designing this cathedral. It's very beautiful. The inside, I just love everything about the cathedral. I loved being here. I love seeing the design. Didn't love the bosses and the enemies, and some of the platforming was a bit janky. Also have the Fallen Bishop Andreas boss, who I think this is a really cool boss. Not exactly the hardest boss, but I love the two phases it has. For sure, this has to be one of the best areas for me in the game, so I'm going to give that the S tier, but I am a bit biased because I love cathedrals. So next up then we have the Vigini Works. Now if you are a lover of steampunk and steamworks, industrial settings, then you will love the Vigini Works because it's all of that and more. You see so much range in this area, so you're down in the gutters, the waters, the stinky sewers, but then you're also up on the rooftops, and it's just fantastic. There's also a cool boss here, which surprisingly didn't take too many tries for me to kill. The King's Flame Fuoco boss. Very cool furnace style boss. Again, if you love steampunk, I think you'll love this area. And overall, I just think it's fantastic they added this in. It would definitely not be Lies of P without the Vigini Works. So therefore, I think we're going to give that the A tier because it's just beautifully designed. Next up, we have Rosalia Street, is it? And the Estelle Opera House, or the Rosa Isabella Street, that's it. I like this location. It feels a bit more upscale than some of the other areas we've seen. The one thing I don't like about this area is you have to fight, and your first encounter to, the Mad Clown Puppet. I do not like this guy at all. He's so scary. I'm not even afraid of clowns, but this guy is just creepy. And yeah, maybe I'm a wuss because I didn't actually ever fight him and defeat him, but I don't care. He's spooky and he's weird. That's the one thing I probably don't like about this area, about the Rosa Isabella Street. Moving on, also in the same category, we have the Estella Opera House. This was one of the areas I used for like grinding out ergo to level up. Just killing those first couple of enemies at the start was awesome and great for ergo. Overall, I do like this location. I love the grandiose of it. The design is very nice, very reminiscent of a Grand Opera House. So again, the designer's done a fabulous job here. There's a few NPCs you can talk to. And of course, we have the ultimate boss battle. King of Puppets. I love the King of Puppets. That boss you see at the start is insane. But this is not a boss tier list, this is a location tier list, so I will not get into how much I love the King of Puppets, but he's so cool. But this area is overall a fantastic location. I don't know if I'm putting that down because of the boss, but it is a beautiful location nonetheless. So where do we put it on our tier list? Damn, that's a difficult one. I think it was A tier. I don't know why I'm giving it A tier when it's so good, because I definitely prefer this location. Actually, do I prefer this location to Vigini Works? I don't know, because both of those areas had areas of it that I did not like. I did not enjoy going through the Vigini Works, but I kind of really admire the design for it. So therefore, that's why I give it an A. But I don't know. We keep them in the A tier. We don't need to overthink it. It's fine. Next up then we have the Grand Exhibition. What do we say about this place? I hated this area. This was actually my least favorite area in the game. One of them. I did not like this area because the enemies were so damn hard. And there were so many of them. They're littered like everywhere. And it was kind of hard to get through. But there is some elements of it that I did like. The design, for one, was nice. It definitely is like a museum. I love the botanical bit with some of the plants and things like that. Overall, this area is fine. I wouldn't care for it if it was gone. So therefore, I'm just going to give it, I think, C tier. It's fine. I don't love it. Next up, we have the Lorenzini Arcade. I like this area. Again, I liked how different this was. You're down these little corridors. There's like little shops. You're seeing more textures, design. I love it. I thought it was very, very cool. But then you also go through it and you see the more gritty side of it. So I think this is a fantastic area. A lot of cool design. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. It was cool. It was fine. I think it can go in the B tier. Then we have the Barren Swamp. I like this area. I like how big and open it was. there wasn't really like too many tight spaces with quarters and things. There was some cool platforming. Easy enough enemies, wasn't too difficult. It was kind of giving you that like dip before it gets hard again, so this was a nice area to just kind of pick up some items, run around, have a bit of fun. Some platforming again. And everyone's favourite green monster of the swamp boss was here. It's a very cool boss though. He's quite hard. But yeah, I like the area for this one because it looks just how you would imagine like a junkyard swamp to be and what you would find there. So I think it's very cool. I really want to talk about the boss, but I'm trying very hard not to. Barn Swamp. I think it goes in the A tier. I'm sure if I was playing this again, I would hate the Barn Swamp because it's like boring. Looking back at it though, I do like the area. I'm feeling we have to move everything down one though to kind of give us some room here. So we might have to move these down and put that one there. That looks better. Next we have the collapsing Krat, which is when Krat starts to collapse due to all of the ergo stuff coming out of the ground. And I like what they've done here. I like how they've changed the area that we once knew. I think it looks great. Again, love what the designers have done. I love how the kind of, I don't know what you call it, like a parasite of the ergo is moving through the city, and from that it is changing things, changing the structures and how things look, breaking it up. So therefore I think that has to go in the A tier. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Anyway, next up then we have the relic of Trismegistus. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a hard one to say. But this area is pretty cool. Again, you're seeing quite a lot of different structures. You're kind of seeing the worlds collide of the more nature environment and the structures of like buildings and stuff like that. You have to fight the Black Rabbit Brotherhood here again, which this was definitely an area for me where I was like, I'm either going to quit the game here or I'm going to power through. And we powered through. We got past this area. Yeah, it's kind of got all the things I hate. It's got the Black Rabbit Hood, Brotherhood, whatever. It's got a lot of platforming, annoying bosses and enemies, and it's a bit more dark and dismal. So therefore, I think on the tier list, that has to go in the D tier. And then lastly, we have the Arch Abbey. I think this is a fantastic place to end the Lies of P area, unless you go on to do the Nameless Puppet. But I think the Arch Abbey is very cool. I love how it's more old. A lot more older than the City of Krat and the Hotel Krat. We're seeing something that's a bit more ancient here. Something that's more related to the history of the area that we're in. And it then reveals the lore of what's going on in this town, this city, with the alchemists and Manus. And I like how we're seeing runes and structures and little sculptures of these little things. And it's another element to the game that just elevates it, because we have current and new things. Then we have these older ancient things which we get onto as the game reveals itself. I don't know, I could be just talking absolute trash right now, but for one, I like this area. I appreciate the difficulty of it. I just like how it's different to what else we've experienced in the game. It's like a fortress, a stone fortress with a lot going on. Not to mention, and I know again this isn't a boss video, one of my favorite bosses is here, Laxia the Complete. She's epic. So we do fight her here, and I think that's awesome. And not only that, it then leads us on to Sophia. If you've come to love the Lies of P series, the game, and what it stands for, the story, the lore behind it, this is almost like a heart-wrenching moment, because we find out the lore behind Sophia, the real Sophia, and you see her pain and her suffering, and it's a moment of silence you feel for this character, because, you know, she's been leading you through the game up until this point to when you see her and you realize that this is what she's going through while she's been helping you through the game to try and save her. And it's just a phenomenal moment, and I love how it takes a break from everything else in the game, and it's not stone structures you're in, it's not cold, it's not dank and dreary. You're in this warm room, it's red, it's grand, and there she is in the center of it. So I think they've done a fantastic job here, and I appreciate what the designer's done and how they made you feel. So I think it's amazing. I do love that. And as you continue throughout the Abbey, things get more difficult, a lot more platforming. Let's see what else we've got here. They did not strike out and just put a whole lot of assets together. They really planned it, that you're going through this fortress. It's leading up to this grand bit where you're fighting Manus and the Nameless Puppet, and it's awesome. So therefore, I think that gets S tier for sure. Now let me know in the comments, guys, down below. What do you rank these as? What do you think of my S tier? And how much are you excited for the DLC? I, for one, am very excited for the DLC. I think it's going to be insanely awesome. I can't wait to see what areas and locations we get and how different it could be, but also how similar it can be to the base game. So thank you very much for watching, guys. This was super fun to have a look again at the Lies of P game. I love the game so much. It has a very special place in my heart. I just want to take a moment to thank my Loot Goblin members. Thank you very much, Bailey and Pancakes and Hammers. You guys are super awesome and I really appreciate your support. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you again real soon. Farewell.